Just check if you have secondary growth for your exams. Textbook. Is there everything which is there in a textbook is dropped? So, but they told you that this first part is going to be there. They have not told anything. But we know that the lesson is there. Yeah, but this is the old textbook and this is the old portion because all these things are related and the new ones. Huh? They tell us that when they start the lesson. Okay, because now they are directly starting from here, the tissue system. They are not starting from this tissues. But anyways, there's no harm in learning those things. Yeah, the thing I wanted to ask you is whether you have this secondary growth 6.4, this part. Because this is the one which adds up to more weightage to this chapter if it's there, because this is a difficult one. If we are learning this, we should know where it's there. Because otherwise it's of no use of learning these things, because these things are there from the BAC point of view. Just let me know if those things are there for you, okay? Because then I'll have to give you notes of this that part also. Yeah, you have your notes, anatomy notes. Yeah. Stop nice. Okay. So what we are going to learn is first we should know the organization. Okay, first the initial that the primitive animals or the plants, they are made up of cells. Okay, we know that. Then the complex one comes wherein they are made up of tissues. Then they are made up of, next is organs, and the last is organ system. So this is the hierarchy. This is how the evolution happened. किती म्हणतात ते? झालं पहिलीच्या. Okay, so first what we have cells. Then we have the plants or the animals which are made up of tissues. Then they have little bit of organs. Then they have complex organ. For us, for example, what are the organs we have? Organ system we have circulatory system, respiratory system, digestive system. These are the system, organ system that we have. That means we are at the complex part. Okay. Then you should know that what is anatomy is. Anatomy is study of internal organs. Okay, all the structures, what is the pattern, what cells they are made up of, how they are, what is their property, whether they're living cell, dead cells, or some other type of cells. Okay, this we are going to learn. What chemical content is present inside them, that is what is about anatomy. Okay, then we are starting with a small, what you say, flow chart, that is tissues here are divided into two parts. Okay, so first they have given you the definition of tissue, that is a group of cells having a common origin, and also they are performing a common function. So this is what, this is the definition of tissues. Then there are two major groups of tissues. First is meristematic tissues and the second is permanent tissues. So meristematic tissues we have already discussed. These are the ones which can divide themselves, right? Whether this cannot divide. Okay, they are still there. Laptop is locked up very fast. I just change this setting, okay, for some time. नाल तो परत असंच जातला. No, where it is. Okay, so you can make that flowchart and then we can add up some more content to that. On your notes, you can do it better. Maybe on the last page, you can do. Or if there is any gap in between after this topic, you can do it. Otherwise, this is sure. After the difference between xylem and phloem, page number 9, bottom, there's small space there you can write. I'm getting it right now. Wait later. Okay, so this meristematic tissues are now divided into first one, which is apical meristem. Apical means at the apex. Okay, and this apical meristems are again divided into two more categories, that is called as SAM, that is shoot apical meristem and root apical meristem. Okay. Where they are present, location is at the apex of shoot or at the apex of root. Okay, both the locations we have already seen, right? In morphology, remember? Okay. Now, first about apical meristem. So where it is present, two places I told you, shoot and root. It is present the tip of the root and tip of the shoot. What is the function of these tissues? Produce primary tissues. See, when the plant is very small, it is just growing in nature. It is not reproducing. It is not going to produce some secondary growth. Okay, what we can see during that time, that is the primary growth. Okay, and this primary growth is present only in dicots and monocots. Okay, you can say primary growth is present in dicots and monocots, but the secondary growth, have you seen any grass which is very hard, grass which is having a brown stick? Have you seen a grass which is very tough? No, right? Because that grass is not having any secondary growth. Okay, now you understood the physical difference between secondary and the primary growth? Yes. So primary growth is the initial stage, okay, wherein the plant is just growing in height, just it's becoming, what do you say, adult in its life, for example. Okay, and then secondary growth is when it is undergoing a hardening process, and also it is bearing what? The flowers and all those things. Okay, is this clear? Fine. So what we have, function, produces primary tissues, causes increase in length of root and shoot. So because of the meristem, the root and shoot can increase in length. Okay, just length, not girth. They can, girth means, you know, it cannot elongate like this. It can only become taller and taller and taller. Okay, is this clear? Then next is about axillary birds. We have already discussed about axillary birds in Morphology. So some cells left behind shoot apical meristem, they are forming axillary buds, and these buds develop at the axil of leaves, tip of the leaves. They can develop into branch or a flower, right? So they have capacity of becoming a branch or a flower. When it will become flower? When the meristem, okay, is changing itself to become a floral meristem. Okay, this also we have discussed in morphology. Remember? So both these chapters is like correlation. We are going to relate both these chapters. Fine. Then next, yeah, this is the location. Okay. So here you can see this is the root cap, and this is where the meristematic cells are present. Okay, and here also this is the shoot apical meristem, and you can see here shoot apical meristem is present here, and these are the small leaves which are growing, and those small leaves we are calling it as leaf primordium. Okay, komri in Kokani we say, komri. Okay, that is the leaf primordium. This is clear to everybody? Yes, everybody म्हणजे दोघंच झाले. I mean, okay. Then next type. So apical meristem is done. Any doubt here? Okay. So the second type here is, we can see, intercalary meristem. Okay. So where is this intercalary meristem present? It is present between the mature tissues. Maturing phase ह्या तसा रूटाची आम्ही discuss केली ती in morphology. Yes. So between the mature tissues, these are present, and this is very common in grasses. Grasses म्हणजे monocots, right? In short, they are very common in monocots. What is the function of this? Help in elongation part of the plant. Okay, then regenerate parts removed by grazing. Grazing सगळ्यात जड grasses जाता, right? So grasses are undergoing a certain type of stress. Okay, so the stress reduce करपाक कितें जाता? They have a special type of meristem which is called as intercalary meristem, which is helping them to regenerate or to grow very fast. Okay, this is clear. So second type is clear, intercalary meristem. The next is about lateral or secondary meristem. Okay, lateral or secondary meristem. Mature region of root याद असा ज्या जागेवयल्यान root hair भायर येताले. Okay, so that is the location of roots, and also there is a location for this meristem, lateral meristem, which is present in the shoot as well. So where it is present, again this lateral meristem, which is responsible for the secondary growth, is present in roots and shoots as well. Okay, then they are specially present in the woody plants. म्हणजे plants जे मागीर घट जातले पळय, so that ghatness or that hard thing, brown thing, is because of this secondary meristem or lateral meristem. Okay, then what is the character of the cells which are present in this lateral meristem? So their shape is cylindrical. Okay, they appears later primary meristem. So पहिली कोण येता? पहिली येता primary meristem, and after that comes the lateral meristem in action. Okay, then they produces secondary tissue. Okay, they are producing secondary tissue, and also they are causing thickness. आता किती जाताले मेरिस्टेमान तो फक्त लांब 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 जातालो, and you know, just imagine if trees जर फक्त लांब 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 जाताली आणि जर ती घट जायना आशिल्ली जाल्यार किती जाता आशिल्ली? Yeah, modun patta ashili, right? So that's why this is very very important, and this is increasing the girth of stems and roots. So for example, if this is the shoot, okay, another meristem asani, then this lateral is present like this, okay, and it is helping to increase this girth. Okay, is this clear now? So what is the example, what are the example of this secondary meristem? Number one, we can see fascicular vascular cambium. Fascicular, it's very simple, kind of difficult now, okay? They have just used some fancy words, but the meanings are very simple. You'll come to know when we are discussing about them. Okay, fascicular vascular cambium, then interfascicular cambium. Interfascicular cambium, and the last one, C, is cork cambium. If you want to highlight this in a textbook, then you can highlight that. Because these words which I have written are very, very important. Okay, cylindrical, primary meristem appear later than primary meristem, produces secondary tissues. Okay, this is clear. The small thing which is mentioned here in the introduction part, just give me your textbook. Okay, see. You have another topic 6.1.2, which is permanent tissues. But before that, in the last paragraph, they have mentioned about the permanent tissues. Okay, little bit introduction part. Okay, so that introduction part from the last paragraph we are discussing now. Okay, so that you should not confuse whether we are learning this part or this part. So I'm just discussing the thing which is mentioned here about permanent tissues. Okay. So what they have discussed? Definition. Okay, permanent tissues are formed from meristematic cell that become specialized and lose the ability to divide. So what is the difference between meristematic tissues and permanent tissues? Number one, meristematic tissues are dividing and the permanent tissues are not dividing in nature, right? That's what we have written as the major point here in the flowchart. Okay, so they are losing their ability to divide, so they cannot divide further. Okay, then how these permanent tissues are formed? Obviously they are forming from the meristematic cell which are dividing repeatedly. Okay, they are from where they are forming from the meristematic cells. So now newly formed cells, they are becoming structurally and functionally specialized. So this is like how, this is like your 12th standard. Meristematic tissues are like 12th standard science. आता तुम्ही सायन्स घेतलंय की तुम्ही मेडिसिन असू शकता, इंजिनियर जाऊ शकता, टीचर जाऊ शकता, रिसर्चर जाऊ शकता, or if you want to shift your किती म्हणतात ते full stream, you can go to arts also. Okay, even that you can do. So meristematic tissues is that. Okay, it is just helping you to divide. But permanent tissues किती करतात ते आता you have a final goal. For example, तुम्ही आता तुमचे graduation, post graduation केला, now you cannot switch. Okay, now you can't change your stream. Okay, so now it's your time to become stable, and now you have to start earning money, or that is you have to start doing your work. Okay, that is what the cells are doing here in the secondary, in the permanent tissues. Okay, is this clear? Then, so we have, they lose the power of division. These mature cells form the permanent tissues. So these permanent tissues are also called as mature cells. Please highlight that, mature cells. Okay. In your notes, you'll be having fourth point under formation, mature cells. Okay, this is clear. Then next, आता ज्यांना primary plant body when it is dividing by using apical meristem, थंय 3 टायपाचे cells तयार जाता. That is, when you complete your 10th standard, you have primary three streams, right? So number one stream is, you can say, science. Second is arts or commerce. Then third is obviously arts or commerce, whatever you feel like giving the ranking. But we should not give ranking to anybody. We can take arts first, commerce second, science third. We can do whatever we want because all the streams are important. Okay, just imagine if all the CAs are not there, what will happen? If the lawyers are not there, what will happen? Only doctors, teachers, engineers are not important in this world. Okay, other things are also equally important. Okay, so what we have? Dermal tissues, which is the protective tissue. Okay, so meristem is producing what? Dermal tissues, which is the protective tissue. आता protective tissue म्हणजे location काय असतं? Outside. So a watchman, have you seen any watchman sitting inside the kitchen? No. So the dermal tissues किती करतले? Obviously, that is the outermost tissue. Then you have ground tissue. Ground tissue will be doing what? Storage, support, and photosynthesis. Okay, what is its function? Storage, support, and photosynthesis. Last is vascular tissues. That is your xylem and phloem. And a ह्यांचे function we know, that is transportation, right? So what we have, 3 types of cells which are produced by meristematic tissue. First is dermal, second is ground, third is vascular. Okay, so now we are moving towards permanent tissues. Fine, just 1 minute I'm giving you, just if you want to highlight anything or mark any. And one more thing, please compare my notes with your textbooks. Okay, kiddays are missing asa, you can please spot it and just tell me at that particular time itself. म्हणून तुमका तो 1-1 minute gap आवून दिता. Okay. Okay. So as we have learned, permanent tissues, they are dividing or they are formed from the meristematic tissues, right? Then their cells, they are now not having any capacity to divide themselves. They have lost the capacity of division and now they have become structurally and functionally specialized. Okay, they have a specific role now to perform in the plant body. Okay, so we have 2 types of permanent tissues. Okay, so permanent tissues, under that now we have to make 2 columns like how we have made for the meristematic tissues. Okay, for mesometric tissues, we had made 3 columns, that is for apical, intercalary, and you can also see the last one, lateral. So for permanent, you are going to make 2, that is simple tissues and complex tissues. Simple and complex. Okay, what do you mean by simple tissues? The cells which are somewhat similar to each other, they are clubbed and put in a one particular group. That is simple tissues. Complex means that is it is consisting of more than one type of tissues or cells. Okay, that is complex tissues. Is this clear? So simple म्हणजे किती एकूच type cell असा. Okay, and that cell is making up a tissue. Yeah, they have same function. And the complex one, they are different type of cells and they have different functions to perform. Okay, then simple permanent tissues, you can see there are 3 major types. Number 1 is parenchyma, 2 is collenchyma, 3rd is sclerenchyma. These things you have learned in 9th standard. Remember? Yes, in 9th standard you have already learned this. So these names are not something out of the box. They are the names which you have already learned. Okay, so what we have? Parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Okay, do you remember anything about parenchyma? Important feature, or you can say important thing. Okay, no problem. Okay, so what we have? Parenchyma. They are first of all most abundant cells. Secondly, widely distributed simple tissue in plant. Okay, so most of the content of the plant cell body will be made up of parenchyma cells. Okay, then characters number 1, always remember parenchymatous cells ज्यांना आपण म्हणता, that means they are the living cells. What are they? Living cells. If anybody asks you what is parenchyma, you should say parenchyma are the living cells. Okay, that is the very important character of cell, parenchyma. Okay, then of course माहिती data shape. They can be spherical, oval, round, polygonal, elongate. Okay, these are the shapes of parenchyma. Then cell walls are made up of cellulose. All these cells तुमका full structure खबर आसानी सेलाचो. Cell wall असेल, since we are discussing about the plant, हांगा कितें आसतले cell wall आसतले. So parenchyma cells which are present in plants, their cell wall is made up of what? Cellulose. Okay, then cells may be closely packed or have some intercellular spaces. आता ह्याचा अर्थ किती? So cells can be present like this, very compactly packed. Okay, some के घट, or they can have some intercellular spaces. Okay, then next, cells may be closely packed. Okay, then last is about the function. So the function किती आहे? Number 1 is photosynthesis. Okay, so obviously त्यांच्या भितर किती असपाक जाय? Chloroplast असपाक जाय. Okay, then only they can perform photosynthesis. Then there's storage of food and water and secretions. म्हणजे खंयचे थोडे enzymes सुद्धा त्यांच्या भितर stored असता. And also there is some food and water present inside the parenchyma. Okay, is this clear? So what you'll write for the parenchyma? Number 1, living cells. Okay, number 2, shape, oval, polygonal, round, elongated. Okay, then cell wall is made up of cellulose. Next, closely packed or intercellular spaces असू शकता. Then function is photosynthesis, storage of food and water, and yes, secretions. Is this clear? Then next is about collenchyma. So collenchyma present just below the epidermis of the dicot stem. Epidermis म्हणजे सगळ्यात outermost layer, be it plant or animal, तेका आम्ही किती म्हणतात? Epidermis म्हणतात. There are some modification in some of the plants and animals. त्याच्या बाहेर सुद्धा थोडे cells असतात, but you can say outermost layer will be always called as epidermis. Okay, so हांगेले सांगता आम्ही collenchyma खंय आसा? Just below the epidermis of the dicot stem, occurs as continuous layer or patches. ओके, एक तर फुल लेयर असू शकता और किती असू शकता, इल्लोसो पॅच हांगा आसा, इल्लो पॅच थंय आसा. ओके, then they also living cells. They are oval in shape, spherical आणि polygonal. Okay, then intercellular spaces absent. What is the difference between parenchyma and collenchyma? The intercellular spaces आशिल्ले आणि हांगा कितें आसता, intercellular spaces केन्ना आसना. What is the similarity between parenchyma and collenchyma? They both are living cells. Okay, they both are what? Living cells. Okay, then cell corners are unevenly thickened due to deposition of cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, and may contain chloroplast. So cell, such a cell volan in parenchyma it was only cellulose, but हांगा कितें आसा? Cellulose आसा, hemicellulose आसा, pectin आसा, and also they might contain chloroplast. Chloroplast is also present in parenchyma, right? So that means they can also be photosynthetic in nature. Okay, then function, obviously perform photosynthesis, their chloroplast present asa झाला, and they provide mechanical support to young stems, leaf, petiole, and growing plant parts. Okay, सदांच हार्ड सेल्स येऊन सपोर्ट दितले अशें ना, केन्ना केन्ना collenchyma सुद्धा येता, so that initial stages जेन्ना cells जेन्ना झाड खूप बारीक असता तेन्ना ते डायरेक्ट collapse जावपाक लागता. No, right? Secondary growth अजून तितून जावना, but still it is not collapsing. Why? Because of this cell called as collenchyma. तो तेका कितें दिता? Strength दिता to stand up. Okay, where it is present? Young stem, leaf petiole, growing plant parts. Okay, then the last part is sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma are cells which are dead. So these are dead cells. So can I विचारले what is sclerenchyma? What you are going to say? Dead cells directly. जसे आम्ही parenchyma living cells म्हणतात पय, तसे you can directly say this to dead cells. Yeah, that's what we are going to discuss. Actually, after the maturity, that is during the secondary growth. Okay. So then they are long, narrow cells. Okay, they are long, narrow cell. Cell wall is thick and lignified. So lignin is present astani. So lignin is a substrate which is very difficult to break. Okay, so the cell is almost, you can consider it as a dead one. Okay, and they contain pits. Pits म्हणजे बारीक मधीसो एक space असता open, that is called as pits. Okay, then there is no protoplasm present. Obviously, this is not a living cell. So living cell and non-living cell and protoplasm is of no use, right? So there is no presence of any protoplasm. Okay, then types of sclerenchyma कितले असता? Again, two types. So what we have done is under permanent tissues आम्ही बरेल्या simple tissues, complex tissues. Then we have written parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Okay, permanent tissues, simple tissues is what? Parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Under sclerenchyma we have fibers and sclerets. Fibers and sclerets. So what are fibers? long thick walled pointed cells occurring in groups आणि sclerites किती short highly thickening dead cells with narrow lumen. Lumen म्हणजे internal portion ते आम्ही lumen म्हणतात. ओके देन फायबराचे एक्झाम्पल कोण कोण असा खय खय असा ते स्टेम आणि वेस्क्युलर बंडल and sclerites are present in nutshells, pear, guava, sapota, tea leaves and seed pod. Okay, then function of this sclerenchyma, obviously it is going to give strength and rigidity to the plant organs. Okay, then in your textbook, can you see this diagram? What is the first one? A is parenchyma, B is collenchyma, C is sclerenchyma, and D is also sclerenchyma. These both are the sclerenchyma examples. Okay, आता simple tissues comparison असा parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Okay, this you can use as the major difference portion. So what we have nature, these both are living, parenchyma and collenchyma, and sclerenchyma is dead cell. Cell wall, this is thin cell wall. Hanga you can say thickness is only present at the corners. Okay, सगळे full cell thick na, only at the corners it is thick, and here sclerenchyma it is whole portion outside is thicker and it is lignified. Okay, lignified means sampa hard aside, which is very difficult to break. Okay, then intercellular spaces present in only parenchyma, absent in sclerenchyma and collenchyma. Okay, then main function parenchyma चे किती storage, photosynthesis, secretion. Collenchyma चे किती support to growing plant parts. Then sclerenchyma mechanical support. Okay, common location parenchyma is throughout the plant. Collenchyma is below epidermis of dicot stem, and sclerenchyma is present at the hard parts of the plant. Okay, is this clear? किती doubt सांगा? Okay, then we are discussing about complex permanent tissues. Okay, again I'll give you one more minute just to go through it. Points किती समजू ना, you can ask. Okay, so simple tissues under आम्ही किती शिकली parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, and two types of sclerenchyma. Now we are moving towards complex tissues. In the flowchart, have you written complex tissues? Yes. So under complex tissues, now we are going to write first one xylem. Xylem. Okay. Then under xylem, you again have four types. Okay, under xylem, you again have four types, that is tracheids, vessels, xylem fiber, xylem parenchyma. Xylemच्या अंडर किती किती आसा tracheids, vessels, xylem fiber, xylem parenchyma. Then the next thing you have phloem, and under phloem you have sieve tube elements, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, phloem fibers. So what you have? Yes, sieve tube element, companion cell, phloem parenchyma, phloem fibers. So what is the definition of complex permanent tissues? They'll be consisting more than one type of cell together so that they can perform a common function. Example is xylem, phloem. First we are discussing xylem. Xylem conducts water minerals from the root to the aerial parts, and also it is providing mechanical support. Okay, so now xylem components, again, can you say the name? Tracheids, vessels, fibers, parenchyma. Okay, TVFP. TVFP. As a किती shortcut or किती funny full form you can put, like आम्ही जसे planets ची नाव अभी शिकपाक करताली पळय तशी, because आता कशें आसा first time we are learning सगळें समजपाक येता, no doubt in that, but जेन्ना आम्ही सगळे मेळून जेन्ना आम्ही व्हडले answers तयार करपाक सोदता, when the fill in the blanks are asked, that time you are getting confused की हे xyleman आसा की phloeman आसा. Okay, fine. So the very first thing that we are discussing is about tracheids. So tracheids, they are long tube-like cells. They are thick lignified walls. त्याच्याबद्दल किती असतात thick lignified walls, and they are tapering at end. Tapering म्हणजे at center they are broad, but जसे आम्ही पुढे पुढे होता पळय, they are becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, they are dead and they lack protoplasm. So there is no protoplasm present in tracheids. Main conducting cells in gymnosperms. Okay, so main conducting cells which comes under xylem category, which is present in gymnosperm, is dash. Answer is tracheids. Okay, then vessels. Vessels are cylindrical tube. Okay, long cylindrical tube formed by vessel members. Thick lignified walls are present. That means lignin is present at the walls. Okay, then connected through perforation plate. Perforation म्हणजे किती सांग, बारीक बारीक holes असता, openings असता. Okay, perforation means holes. Okay, so they are connected through this perforation plates, and they are dead at maturity. म्हणजे starting they are living cells, but जसे जसे maturity कडे पावता they are dead. Okay, then characteristic feature of angiosperms. Okay, vessels are characteristic features of angiosperm. Then fiber, thick wall असता, lignified असता, again they are dead, and also they provide mechanical strength. Okay, then parenchyma, xylem parenchyma, living cell. Parenchyma म्हणजे सदात किती असतले, living cell असतले, right? So they are living cell, thin cellulose walls असतले. Function किती असतले, It will be storing food, fat, and tannins, and they are ray parenchyma which help in radial conduction of water. रे म्हणजे कितें सदां कितें जाता अशें सकयल्यान वयर परत अशी पायपलायन आसता पळय पूण केन्ना केन्ना पायपलायन सायडवेज सुद्दां जाय आसता रायट सो दे आर द रे parenchyma which is helping for the कितें passage for water for the sideways parts of the plant. Okay, that is ray parenchyma. This is clear. Now, primary xylem म्हणून you can say primary xylem म्हणजे कितें जाता the plant is in growing stage अजूनही लहान आसा so तेका कितें जाय primary xylem जाय. Okay, but now the plant which is grown up जो woody plant आसा तेका कितें आसता secondary xylem असता and that is the actually the last part of this chapter, that is secondary growth. Okay, that is called as secondary growth. So primary xylem किती किती आसा? Again there are two types, protoxylem, metaxylem. Protoxylem म्हणजे किती? First form primary xylem and later form primary xylem is meta. Okay, meta. Pro means premium first, meta later. Okay, yes, this is clear. Protoxylem and metaxylem. Okay, so here primary xylem जे आसा where they are present. Okay, where they are present. Number one, they are present at stem. Number two, they are present at root. And how they are present? What is their arrangement type? So protoxylem center असता, metaxylem बाहेर असता. This type of arrangement is called endarch. Endarch म्हणजे कितें? Protoxylem in the center, metaxylem at the periphery. This is endarch. And exarch opposite असतले. Protoxylem to the periphery and the metaxylem at the center. This is exarch. Endarch, exarch. Okay. You can say exterior, anterior. Okay. Exterior, anterior. And exterior, anterior, you only remember about protoxylem. Okay, protoxylem, then anterior anasta. Okay, that is endarch. And then exterior anasta, that is exarch. Okay, my metaxylem automatically कळटलो नी, right? Okay, is this clear? Okay, so this is about xylem. Now we are moving to know about phloem. Then we can start. Okay, phloem, and then we'll start. Any doubt till here? Still, I'll give you 1 more minute. What is? Tannin, it's a chemical which is present inside. So Suddha, like a sign of saying it's a very hard, just like lignin, it's very hard, complex chemical. Almost same, you can see. If you are writing, you can just write down it's the chemical which is present inside the cell. Okay, tannin, lignin, they all are the chemicals. I hope you are comparing with your textbook as well. Kide miss out जाओ nahi? So now we are moving towards phloem. And phloem function kide? Obviously to transport food, that is organic nutrients from leaves to the other parts of the plant. Okay. Components of phloem kon asa? Sieve tube elements, companion cell, phloem parenchyma, phloem fibers. Okay. So sieve tube elements kide asa? They are living in nature, but they do not have nucleus. Okay, function food conduction. Companion cell leaving control sieve tube function. Okay, sieve tube जे food conduct करता पय त्यांचे function ते control करता. Companion cell. They are giving company to sieve tube. Okay, that's hence the name companion cells. Okay, then phloem parenchyma again living आणि काम किती असा storage of food. Parenchyma always understand they are going to do some storage. Okay, then phloem dead, so they are giving mechanical support. Phloem fibers are giving mechanical support. So number one is sieve tube elements. They are long tube-like cells. Okay, arrange end to end. End to end म्हणजे एक असं असं फुल्लं असं असतं. Next is like a pipeline. Okay, end to end. They will be connected. Then end walls form sieve plates. So sieve plates असतात म्हणजे cell element असता पय त्याचे जे last end walls असतात that those walls will be called as sieve plates. Okay, so walls of sieve tube elements are called as sieve plates. Mature cell, they will be not having nucleus. Okay, but still they are living in nature. Then function transport of food throughout the plant. Next is companion cells. Companion cells किती करतले? Living parenchymatous cells असतात. So they are closely associated with the sieve tubes and they connect through pit fields. Okay, barik pit fills बारीकशे holes असतले. Through that they are connected with the sieve tube elements. Okay, and then they are then the function is control activity of the sieve tubes, maintain pressure for food transport. So food सदांच pipeline चालू असपाक जाय अशें कांय ना न्ही, केन्ना केन्ना ती बंद असपाक जाय, केन्ना केन्ना चड food content जाय पडटा. So all these things are controlled by the companion cells. Okay, then last part is about phloem parenchyma, which are the living cell. Cellulose present asta. Then they contain dense cytoplasm and nucleus. Function is store food, resins, latex, and mucilage. All these things are present inside parenchyma cells. Then here one thing we have to note that parenchyma is absent in most of the monocots. This is the thing or extra point which we have to note, that they are absent in most, not all, but most of the monocots. Okay. Then phloem fibers, they are the bast fibers. Bast fibers सुद्धा त्यांका दुसरे नाव असं म्हणतात. They are dead sclerenchymatous cells and they have thick walls, long pointed cells, usually present in the secondary phloem. Secondary phloem म्हणजे when there is secondary growth of the plant which is occurring. Okay, त्यांना हे किती present असता? Phloem fibers असता. And commercially where they are used in jute, flax, hemp. This is where they can be used since they are hard, right? They can be used in this particular commercial fields. Okay, now primary phloem, again that is protoxylem and metaxylem. Protoxylem obviously first formed astale and metaxylem is the later formed. Protophlloem and metaphlloem. Okay, so protophlloem first formed primary phloem with narrow sieve tips, and then metaxylem with the larger sieve tubes. Last important thing which we have to note down here is difference between xylem and phloem. So सगळ्यात पहिली म्हणजे त्याचे function. Okay, transport what? Xylem transport water minerals, phloem transport food. Direction mainly upward because rootatlan वता न्ही, right? Water and minerals are absorbed from the root, so सकयल्यान वयर. And phloem both the directions because leaves are present everywhere. Okay, so वयल्यान सकयल any direction they can be present. So this type of formation is called as source to link. Okay, it is called as what? Source to link. Then main conducting cells, tracheids and vessels in the case of xylem and sieve tubes in the case of phloem. Okay, and who is helping sieve tubes? Who is helping sieve tubes? Sieve plates are the walls of the sieve tubes. Parenchyma. Okay, phloem parenchyma. Fine. Then mechanical support xylem provide करता? Yes, but phloem is limited. Okay, then majority of cells in the xylem is dead. And majority of cells in the phloem is living. Okay, so next class we will be discussing about the tissue system. Okay, is this clear? And there are three types of tissue system: epidermal tissue system, then ground tissue system, आणि vascular tissue system. तीन cells जे हांगा तयार झाले पय, which is this dermal, ground, vascular. That's actually मी थंय in detail discuss करतो. Okay. In the next part, we will be discussing about the tissue system. Fine. बाकीचे actually हांगासरल्यान सगळ्यांचो start झाला portion, but the initial part शिकले जाल्यार काय harm ना, because that is a very harmless information. Right? फक्त कितें तुमकां जर examing आसा, then you have to remember, याद दवरचें पडटलें. Okay, that is just telling us the properties of the cell, how they update, whether they're living, non-living, त्यांच्या भितर content, chemical content कितें आसा, function कितें आसा. Okay? Fine, we'll stop here for today. Just confirm with your teachers if they are if you're having secondary growth. Okay. I'll just write down the attendance. Then you can. You can sit here till the 12th students.